let's have some more fun.
Okay.
You know who this guy is.
I do.
So we're gonna bring out the jester and have some questions here.
Where did you get that?
This is a New Orleans toy.
Yeah, figured it has
Toy. We'll just call it a toy.
Mardi Gras themed.
Yes. It's crazy. But now it serves a very different purpose, a nicer purpose, a more playful purpose, a more serious and professional purpose. So coming out of this thing, what do we have here?
Okay.
All right. So here's something I'm gonna start this real quick that I've noticed is this question, this topic is paramount for the creative. It is one of the most important things that I've come across in talking to creatives, to them. What 3 albums should someone listen to if they want to understand you? Now you can go with songs if you don't want albums.
3
albums. Big, but what are 3?
Gosh. That's a tough question because I can start listing albums that I enjoy, but and that have some meaning to me, personal meaning, but don't know if understanding me on a deeper level, would work. I'm sure you could probably take songs off the album and be like, really? How does this song relate to you? So, with that, I'll mention some of my favorite artists and albums. I've always been a big admirer of Paul Simon.
Okay.
From a young age. Someone introduced me to Simon and Garfunkel when I was, teenager. Got a cassette. It was a cassette tape at the time. It was a cassette tape.
They don't have those anymore.
The greatest hits.
Heck, my daughter doesn't know what a CD and DVD is. She's confused by that. Where does this thing go? It's like,
but I admire Paul Simon's music. One of the great songwriters, I think, of our time. And I learned how to play guitar because of Paul Simon. And I admire the music. It is very introspective, I think, at times. He's had an incredible career, and I think the thing I really admire about Paul Simon is just the longevity of the career, and he, I think, is a very one of my kind of creative role models, I guess, just because of that longevity and all of the different kind of ways that he tested new things. He explored new mediums. He, at times was controversial in doing so. But I think that his music just, speaks to me in some way. So I would, as far as album goes, Graceland.
Okay.
Is one of my favorites. In the Simon and Garfunkel days. Silence Bridge of Troubled Water.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Now understanding me, that's a trickier question.
Right.
But at least we could start with some music that Steve,
Do you think that if somebody did go down that rabbit hole, and then they met you, they may be like, you know what? I kind of get this. I kind of see some of these sensibilities. I can see where he maybe was influenced by this or that. Mm-hmm. Like, I almost think it's impossible to not see that, to not grab that when you when you do kind of like see under the hood of somebody's musical choices. And here's what's interesting too: is music is so personal. It's almost like you don't want to reveal those things because these are just for me. Because we don't all like the same things. Mm-hmm. But it has been really funny. That has been consistent. Music for the creative is paramount. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Did we get to 3? We got to 2-ish. Simon and Garfunkel. Just go listen to something for Paul Simon. You'll get to know what Steve is all about. There we go. What is your opinion of Disneyland? Because one opinion of Disneyland is very telling.
Disneyland, Disney World, just Disney theme parks.
Disney theme parks.
Okay, Disney theme parks. So I should preface this by saying that so I have two daughters, and we have experienced Disney. There is a time and a place for Disney, and the sweet spot, I think, is when your child is between the ages of 5 and 10. Yeah. Because there's mobility, right? You move. You can go on some of the rides. There's the things that are there. At the different theme parks, and they get really excited about the enthusiasm level is high. And then so we took the girls twice, and at a certain age, I think it loses its luster a little bit. Well, especially as a parent.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
Now that doesn't mean that there aren't, I know there's like a whole group of adults
be careful
that
you're
gonna potentially offend who love Disney. I think I would have a harder time now going back to Disney, especially if my kids are much older. I am a little curious about Star Wars. I did not get to experience Star Wars, and I love the Star Wars franchise. Yeah. So. There are some things that entice, but I'm kind of more of a time and a place type. I have a time and a place mindset when it comes to Disney, the parks.
That doesn't surprise me about you. You're very easy and chill, so that doesn't surprise me at all about you. Yeah. That it's not like a hate or love kind of thing. I'm not surprised by that at all. Yeah. Not at all. Let's see what else.
Did that question has that been asked before?
Yes. I think Lucas asked it and answered it.
Oh.
I'll have to go back and check. Have you ever been to a monster truck rally?
I have not.
Would you go?
I would go. I would go to a monster truck rally just out of sheer curiosity and entertainment. I'm sure there are entertaining aspects, even if you don't know anything about the trucks. I mean, do people go to those?
I do. They follow them.
But do they follow certain trucks?
As far as I know, yes. Yeah.
Drivers?
I've been to one.
Okay. What was it like?
It was fascinating. It was loud. It was cool. It was fire, and it was a spectacle. And it's worth going. If you've never been, go see one. I did it here in wherever we are, downtown DC, the arena there. I don't know what it's called now, Capital One. But
I would think it would take a long time to convert that space.
Oh, it was amazing. The mountains of dirt were 20 feet high. And
something suitable for monster trucks.
Where they play basketball and hockey. I'm like, what is this?
That's incredible.
It was really, really cool. Like I said, very loud, exciting, and something everybody should see because you can't believe it. We see it on TV, but until you see it, you just cannot grasp what is happening with this giant truck is doing a flip in the air. With wheels that are 15 feet tall.
Yeah.
You just can't grasp it until you see it. It's like going to see Shaq play. It's like you just can't grasp a man that big moving that fast until you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Right. All right. We'll have to do that together.
Let's do it.
We'll have to do that together. Yeah.
Who's an artist in a completely different field who totally blows your mind?
Artist in a totally different field. Good question.
And you were complaining. You're going to get all the hard ones coming in.
Oh,
you got some hard ones. Yep. I feel like this question is interesting because I think it throws people off when it's a totally different field. Because we're talking about creativity.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
So for me, it's always like, I think of, a filmmaker, or I think of a writer, or even a painter, a sculptor. I try to think of those types of things that I've seen before, and I'm like, that's really cool. Yeah. There's a woman, she does, she got famous on Instagram by doing and I'm blanking on her name, but real life pencil drawings, like color pencil drawings. And they are stupendous. But she's now kind of moved to where she does installations and museums and galleries. I mean, it's really, really cool stuff. But it's like, it does blow my mind. Like the way that she just thinks through that, and she doesn't care what feedback she gets. She just does it. She's like, this is who I am. I'm going to do it. And I think I appreciate that a whole lot. In fact, Kristen turned me on to it. It's like, this is cool. But she's a big fan of her too. So, but I never forget her name. I'll look it up and I'll make a little third for this.
Yeah. I'd like to see that. I started to think about chefs. I don't know why my mind went to chefs.
That's a good one.
They're artists. I enjoy dining out, restaurants, love of food. And there are some chefs that I think, many chefs who are highly creative. I've enjoyed, shows like Chef's Table, comes to mind, which really kind of explores this about chefs as creative visionaries. Not very far from here where we are, there's a Little Washington, not the big Washington, but Little Washington. There's a restaurant there called the Inn at Little Washington. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of Little Washington?
No, where's Little Washington?
It's in Virginia.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
We're in Virginia now, aren't we?
I'm going to check that out, though. Yeah. That's really cool. Little Washington.
So, Little Washington, there's a restaurant there called the Inn at Little Washington, and the chef there is Patrick O'Connell. He's still the chef there. And had the pleasure of eating there a few times, and it is just the way the food is presented, the imaginative, kind of almost whimsical way that he creates food and menus. It's an experience. I do think there's I think some inspiration, there's artistry to that isn't, even though I don't. I tried one time to make. So he's put out a few cookbooks. And I tried one of the cookbooks. I actually tried to make some of the recipes, and Beth, my wife, will tell you that it took me like 2 days to make this recipe. It had multiple steps. There were things that had to sit for hours at a time. There were ingredients that I had to go buy and procure, and it was a whole process just to try to replicate it. But it was kind of fun. I think I got pretty close.
All right.
It's been a while since I've had that luxury and time to make food that takes 2 to 3 days to prepare.
I love that.
But I do enjoy cooking. That's another thing that I like. Maybe there's some kind of creative expression that comes out there as well.
I love chef as an answer. That's a great one. That's a new one. All right, see what we have here. Yeah. Are there any substances, tricks, rituals that help you get the creative juices flowing? I'm really waiting for someone to be like, you know what? I get after it. No, wait. No one said that yet.
Substances that get the creative juices.
You know, some people, I mean, look, go back to the 60s and 70s and rock and roll, and there you go.
Yeah, no hallucinogenic substances come to mind.
So what else helps you get the juices flowing?
Like a draw from, the 60s and that kind of creative era. But a good meal gets sometimes in some of the conversations that we've had over dinner. I do think I do enjoy sharing meals with people. I think there's something to that, and I think culturally it transcends cultures really.
It does. Yeah.
And I've had the pleasure of just traveling around the world and experiencing food with different people and different cultures, and it's amazing. That's one thing. I don't know if it's really a substance, but
I think it's a great substance.
Yeah,
it's a trick.
It's not an illegal substance.
It could be illegal, whatever.
It's a substance.
Tricks or rituals.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
Ritual of dining.
Sharing a good meal together. Yes.
It must be the Italian blood, though.
I think so. That's right.
Yeah. It's the double Italian blood. Get down and start eating. You're like,
I should have led with that too.
All right. If you could trade lives with one person for one day and one day only, who would it be?
Trade lies, and this question came up previously, so I should have come prepared with some people that I could think of who I would want to trade lives with. I'll go out on a limb here.
Okay.
So you know I'm a man of faith, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And look at the life of Jesus and the disciples.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't end very well, you know, for the disciples. Most of them suffered a great deal.
Great deal.
But I think to be a disciple, or to be an early follower,
To have watched that happen.
to have witnessed the Sermon on the Mount,
Sure.
would have been pretty powerful. Even if I was just one of the 5,000, you know,
Yeah.
in the crowd there.
It's funny you bring that up because I was just
That would
talking
have
about
been
that.
amazing.
This, for thousands of years, it was foretold by the Jews. And then he shows up and you get to have a front row seat to that. Whether you believe that he was who he was or not, it's irrelevant to this conversation. He changed the course of history. And to have been there and experienced it, when it's happening, like, I just think that's a great answer.
Right. And I think
Just for one day only, because, you know, we don't want to deal with all of the, you know,
Right.
early, you know, wearing sandals in the mud.
just like one day, right? Just one
And then
day.
the smells because nobody bathes regularly.
Yeah.
Like,
There are different beliefs out there, but I think history shows us that Jesus is one of the ultimate influencers.
absolutely.
Think about, you know, how many professing Christians there are in the world, you know, starting with just 12 disciples.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, think about that influence. It's pretty astounding.
Huge.
Pretty astounding. So to have witnessed that
Get a front row seat.
would have been amazing.
That, I agree. It's another good answer. Steve with some good answers here. All right. We'll do one more. See if we got another good one here. What's a classic movie you've still never seen but are embarrassed to admit? Vulnerability today, folks.
Classic
What's a classic movie you've seen but you're
Gosh,
embarrassed to admit?
Just telling someone this. Gosh, and what was the movie? And the reaction was the reaction you would expect to get, right?
Yeah,
That
right.
question, like, what do you mean you haven't seen that movie? Gosh. Oh, no, I've got one for you. You're going to be so ashamed.
Okay.
But I promise I will watch it.
Okay.
I've not seen The Godfather.
Me either. We'll watch it
My
together.
gosh.
That was going to be my answer.
We're both Sicilian.
What's the story? We're both Italian here.
We're Italian,
Never
right?
seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm mortified to admit that.
Okay. All right. So
We're gonna set a date.
we will
watch it.
we will
both
come
watch
back.
that
Movie.
We'll come back and do a catch-up episode after we watch The Godfather. All of them.
We should do that. Yeah. So if I asked that question of you,
That would've been mine.
would you have come up with that?
That would've been mine.
amazing.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Amazing. Okay.
It's like I said, it's mortifying.
Yeah. It's really
Dude,
it's
it's- yeah.
embarrassing to say that I have not seen that. And I studied film in college.
Yeah. Same thing.
And I remember we had, you know, some courses where we watched the classic films. I guess that would have been a great opportunity to do it. Somehow it wasn't in the curriculum then, so I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I love it.
We'll do that. Yeah.
Steve Salvador, this was awesome. Good seeing you, my
A lot of
friend.
fun.
This was good.
It's great. Yeah.
Guys, see you next time.